Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 49 of Gaston's Great. That's correct. I said episode number 49, and if you're surprised as I am that we made it this far. But Gaston's Great is a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and we are coming to you once again from the international headquarters of GSM Services as we look forward to having more great discussions in the coming weeks and months. We simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We are highlighting another great organization this week and have Eric Wilson with us today. Eric is the founding president of Youth Kingdom Development. Eric, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So listen, we're going to get right to it. So if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself and anything you'd like to share.
Well, grew up here in Gaston County all my life. Actually born in Shelby, North Carolina, not too far. My mother relocated here when I was about 2.
Okay.
And just grew up here, actually not too far from here. It was actually a community called Green Circle.
Okay, I know exactly where that is.
A little mobile home park there. Yep. So we grew up there, and all my grassroots, all my memories, all my childhood, everything that I went through was right here in these grounds of Gaston County. Grew up with 3 siblings, all older. I'm the youngest of the 4.
Okay.
And just had a lot of childhood fun here, a lot of memories, seen a lot of development. Things changed over the years. I would never, in my wildest dreams, see that how much Gaston County has changed.
Oh, yeah.
Since I've been a kid. But it's some exciting things going on here. Excited about the new baseball stadium that we just
great.
Built, and just seeing everything kind of transition from childhood to now. Being in my mid-40s is amazing. I think what you're doing is amazing, and helping Gaston County organizations like myself just try to create more awareness in what we do. And I like to share a little bit that with my mindset now, thinking about when I was a kid, that's why we decided to do what we do here for these young people, because it was so much, as a little kid, I got into some challenges, with some trouble here and there. All that know me know that's to be true. But when I decided it was time to make a change for my life, I did it for the better, not just for myself, but I didn't want to just be known as someone that got in trouble in school,
right,
or didn't listen to the parents. But now that I'm dealing with kids now that have some challenges in their life, no matter what it is, I feel like that's why I wanted to do a great thing here in Gaston County with Youth Kingdom Development, try to just help give back, because I know how important it is for young people just to have an outlet and a foundation. So I'm a teacher at heart. I'm a full-time student at Belmont Abbey. Graduated in May.
Oh,
May
wow.
14th.
Wow.
Senior. So
good for you.
Family man.
That's coming quick too.
Yeah, it's God-fearing man. So I'm just loving life right now.
Well, good for you. Can I assume that perspective that you have on growing up here and what you experience, does that help you?
Yes, it
when
does.
when you're dealing with some of these kids?
It does, because they come from various backgrounds, various ethnic groups. Some of them have challenges of managing their emotions.
Right.
Sports in itself is emotion, but take them out of the element of sports, and you can see that some of these kids are still they need guidance with how to make critical decisions, under any pressure that they might be facing in their life, whether that's in school, with some of their subjects, their courses, and confidence. It's all about confidence, putting the confidence in the kid. And once they realize, hey, I could do this, the sky's the limit for them. So that's pretty much the vision that I have when I founded the organization. It's just to give these kids a hope and a dream that they can do anything if they put their minds to it and their hearts.
Absolutely. So before we get into the real details of Youth Kingdom Development, I want to kind of stay with you and your background a little bit, and we're going to kind of shift our questions around a little bit this week, because we want to make sure we cover Youth Kingdom Development in great detail. But sticking with kind of your background, there's two questions I want to ask, because you kind of touched on already. But what is something very few people know about you, Eric?
Well, being the quiet, laid-back guy that I am, I don't think people really understand the passion that I have that's always burning. Like, how can I do more for young people?
Right. Okay.
And with some of the limited resources that we have right now, not to say that we're not trying to gain more and more and more, but I feel like if I just had a lot of the resources, we could be able to just do a whole lot more, not just in Gaston County, but help get these kids out in other areas, Cleveland County, Lincoln County, which in reality we do have some kids from other areas in our program. So, but I don't think people know the true passion of just trying to help young people. And a lot of them hear about us through our sports program, but as we get a little further in the interview, they'll hear that we're not just about sports.
Right.
So
sports is just a vehicle, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It brings them in, and but when they're in here, they'll realize, oh, so I could learn about how to give back to my communities, because we do a lot.
Yeah, I saw a lot on the website. That's good. It looked like some good stuff.
Oh, I need to make sure my grades up. Oh, yes, that's very important too. So academic achievements, community outreach. A lot of people don't know that in my heart, I really feel that that's what will shape a kid's whole life. So I don't think they really know the passion that I have.
Okay.
So, and I just wanted to get that word out.
So it's kind of sticking to the same theme there. Now, I think you mentioned you're in your mid-40s.
Yes.
Looking back, so 20 years or so, I'm going to assume this might, and I could be wrong, but I might assume that this has something to do with where you're at today. But what advice, looking back, would you give your 20-year-old self? And is that something that might have gotten you to where you are with Youth Kingdom Development?
In my 20s, I was still trying to find me, per se. Find my niche in life. I come from a sales background for as a career, so being an enthusiastic salesman, I realized created more sales. Because if you don't have a passion about what you're doing, I don't think you would succeed to your maximum potential.
Right.
So I learned that in my 20s, that if you get out there and you just you hustle with passion and you love what you do, the results will follow. So my advice to my 20-year-old self is, then I didn't know that. I was just...
You were just doing it.
Right.
Yep.
So...
Yeah, I was the same. 20.
Now it's like, okay, plan, apply your plans, and have a passion in what you're doing. And that's what I teach the young people today is you got to have a vision of yourself. You got to know where you're going. You got to have a clear direction for your life. And that starts with sometimes just a dream and a thought that, okay, I want to do this. All right. Maybe someone inspired me. Maybe I saw something on television that inspired me or entertained me and put a spark in my heart that, hey, I could do this as well. So my advice to my 20-year-old self is be persistent,
okay,
be excited, be passionate about what you're doing, and have a plan and execute that plan every day to the best of your ability.
Yeah, I appreciate your passion comments. I'm a little older than you, so I'm almost 52, but I've seen over the years, especially coaching youth and myself, and being involved with a lot of youth here in the community, and then having my own kids, that there's a lot of these messages of go chase your passion, and I appreciate that, but I'm more of a bring the passion that you have already to whatever you're doing,
right,
instead of only getting focused on that one thing that might have. Now, I also love when you're young. I love that dream and plan stuff too.
Right.
So with that little background about you, let's really get into the meat of Youth Kingdom Development. What brought you to where you are now with that? How did that get started? And just, and we'll get more into the mission and what you're trying to do with it. But kind of how did this whole thing get started? And
really, Stephen, it wasn't planned. It's something that just
so many things are like that.
Yeah, it just happened. Coaching in the recreational league, and y'all can hear my voice. I'm very hoarse because I was coaching this past weekend out in Indian Trail, Carolina Courts. So a little recreational team that was actually the 2020 class of kids. At the time, they was 4th and 5th graders. Right here in the city of Gaston, your Parks and Rec League. First season, oh man, we was brutal out there. The kids really grasped a lot of the concepts and teaching, and looking back then at my coaching style then, I was people were saying this. I go back to where you asked me what people don't know about me, because if they saw me coaching back then, it was, why he yelling at the kids? That I was just
Yep.
Just, and they understand it was just my passion, right?
Sure.
But that team that I had the first year, Bradley Center, we won our first game and lost the last 9 straight. So it was a very challenging season. But what I saw in those kids was always some effort. We tried to compete. In the realm of sports, sometimes you just match up against better teams.
Sure.
So I encouraged them to come back and added some more pieces to the team, and we ended up having a 10-0 regular season.
Oh, wow.
Turn a quick turnaround and end up losing in the semifinal of the tournament. And it's a funny story to that. And if you ever hear this podcast, he's going to remember this and probably laugh. A kid by the name of Trent Ostrander, Hunter Huss graduate. I call him T.O. He's at App State. But at halftime of that game, he shot the ball in the wrong basket. Right? I was wondering why he was standing there up on the way, Trent.
Yeah.
But he thought he was wide open, and he was.
Yeah. Youth sports. That's a classic youth sports right there.
And it's funny because we ended up losing that game by 2 points.
Oh, gosh.
So if you take into that factor, right?
Yeah.
And that was the 2 points that, in reality, I know he probably think about that. But no, that was a moment as well. I remember he was so dejected himself and down. And I remember, and I still got that game on video. I had to just encourage him, hey, it happens. Let's get back out there and play, because he was so embarrassed, and the crowd went, shh.
Yeah.
Because they could see him kind of starting to get emotional. But that team just went on to battle, and that loss, something about that loss that I saw. It was all tears as I'm just trying to say my words of encouragement to him after the loss. And I said, well, y'all know y'all could still play if y'all want to. So I said, we could do some tournaments, little local tournaments, keep y'all out there on the court. If y'all want to do a little summer, and I asked the parents can send it. Let's keep them together. And we got out here. Again, nothing in mind of the organization was thought of at that moment. It's just trying to cheer these kids up.
Right.
So we got into a couple of tournaments out here in Charlotte, and it was a different experience for them because the competition level was a lot stronger. So we ended up battling. I think we had about 4 tournaments, and they ended up winning their last tournament. So, and I was actually like, wow, these kids are really
They're coming together,
right? So I decided at that moment to really start to kind of think, this is something that maybe some of these kids want to do as maybe long term. Maybe they want to play a high school basketball. Maybe want to have a dream of playing at the collegiate level. So we kept it going. So the first year, we put that team out there with just that one team. The following year, once we started to kind of plan that, okay, let's put a travel team together. More kids came. So Stephen then went from one team. The first little trial year we did it. Second year, we had 2 teams.
Okay.
All right. The third year, it doubled to 4 teams. So it kept doubling. The next year after that, we had 8 teams. Now, again, this was no advertising. We wasn't promoting it. We
just word of mouth.
It wasn't even established. So I was like, hold on, this is just too many kids to try to be doing something without some structure.
What year roughly?
Oh, man, this was 2013.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Just give us a little reference.
2013. So, 2000, around that. So I decided to try to put a foundation around them. So how Youth Kingdom Development got started was our recreational name was the Kings.
Okay.
So I wanted to kind of keep that kind of in mind, or whatever name that we was going to come up. And I remember driving down New Hope Road, a name came up. Okay, I'm dealing with the youth, with the Kings. I want to develop life skills. And so those 3 names there, I said, okay, first I was thinking Youth Development Kingdom. So I called. I remember calling. I said, hey, what name do you think sounds better, Youth Kingdom Development or Youth Development Kingdom? And the love of my life, she said, Youth Kingdom Development, that sounds better. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, let's do that. So I went and applied the paperwork. I wanted to establish, a charitable organization. And so we started the grounds on that. I didn't want it just to be about sports. So I said, okay, I'm not even going to give it a AAU club name, right? I don't even want nobody to think that we're just about sports. So I wanted this organization to be about developing kids' skills, talents, potential, and just giving them confidence. Let's go. So the vision that I had in my mind was, okay, I want to, and this is our mission, by the way, to inspire and empower young people, to give them a firm foundation to learn life skills through academic achievement, community outreach, arts, and athletics. That was kind of like the start of Youth Kingdom Development.
Wow. Okay, so that's quite the story. And I'll tell you my experience with young people the last 20 years, not just with my involvement with, say, First Methodist youth program, sports program, but also even young kids coming out of high school that we're looking to interview for jobs here. There is a lack of, obviously, I'm making a statement. It's not going to apply to everybody, but we see lack of confidence. We see it's youth that feel like, oh, I can't do that. There's a lot of I can't.
Right.
So to your point about that confidence, I think is actually you got to be careful. I think with just self-esteem for the sake of self-esteem, but that confidence to give them the confidence that they can go accomplish something. Right. And so I think that's an important point. So I think you've already kind of touched on the mission and the vision, of your organization. Or is there anything to add to that, to those 2 things? You laid out you laid it out pretty well.
Well, I can't fail to mention that, in the beginning, which was the groundwork to where we are today. I got to mention the people that helped establish. So it was an assistant coach that I had who became actually the vice president of Youth Kingdom Development, a gentleman by the name of Lawrence Thomas, who we call LT. He was a very inspirational motivator, good communicator, know how to grab the kids' attention with just encouraging words, very laid-back personality, and we had a chemistry, and we realized that, okay, LT, you take this group of kids who was more like, I would say, lack of confidence. LT could speak a word to them, right? I had the kids that had the emotional challenges, the aggressive mindsets. Yeah. Because growing up in my childhood, I used to have very quick temper moments. So when I saw a kid that couldn't control his emotion. That's the kids that I try to take down on the other end of the court. So, and that's something that we did well. We used our strengths and we applied to the best of our abilities to get whatever we could out of those kids. Now, over the years, you cross paths with some of these kids, and then when I coached them, they were shorter than me. Now I look up to a lot of them. So, and just to see how they grown. And me and LT actually we're gonna meet at lunch here today, and we talk about where some of these young men are doing now. Right. Some of them are in college. Someone went on to play Division I.
Oh wow!
Basketball, Division I football. I got a kid at the Tar Heel.
Oh,
got a kid at
that's too bad.
State.
Hey, there you go. That's what I want to hear right there.
So, and football players, man, like I say, we just planted a seed.
Wow, that's terrific,
Stephen. So, I wanted just to give that moment just to thank all those parents, Sidney McGurty, Kelly, John Carl, all those kids that I think about, and those parents that help support that team, those little group of kids, Trent's parents, Don. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get to name call, but I'm thinking with so much that they did.
I'm sure there's a lot that were involved.
And look, and they didn't have to. It was all volunteer. We were all just doing this out of just the goodness of our hearts. But it's so much that I want to just acknowledge now that I have this platform and opportunity that you gave me, that we want to just say thank you.
Sure.
We want to say thank you to all those parents. Thank you to those young men that stayed on the straight path. And I know I was hard on you. And some parents didn't agree all the time with NLT's coaching style or whatever. But hey, now that the kids know, I mean, reaching back and having a conversation with one of our kids, Greg Brockington, and I remember that moment, and he said, "Coach, at the time I didn't understand it then.
Oh yeah,
he was too hard on me, but now I really appreciate what you did." But so it was the discipline.
In the moment, it's hard for kids to see that sometimes. Yep.
And their parents, all they see is, "Oh, you yelling, or you hard on my son, stop yelling my son." But but Stephen, it was just a passion. It was not a yell of discouragement, a yell of embarrassment to belittle a kid. No, it's not my coaching style. It's just passion. That's why I'm so hoarse now doing this interview, because I love what I do.
You expended all that voice this weekend.
Right.
So you've mentioned, that kind of that first team, and you've mentioned some names of, I'm sure, kids that you have impacted positively. But what can you share? Is there something you're most proud of accomplishing, or along those lines? You've named some kids already, but maybe a specific example of where you've seen a kid that you had, and you now you see him later, or just something that you want to share there that some story, anecdotal story that of a success.
Yes, and I always have to go back to that foundation. One of my players he admitted there was fear. It was fear that was holding him back.
Okay,
because I saw it in him. As a 9-year-old, I felt like he had the potential to not only be the best player on the team, but be the best player within that whole league.
Okay.
But he didn't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid had good athleticism, a good awareness of the game. And I'm talking about a 9-year-old, Steve. But in the moment of when he's playing, he would always just have you could see it in him, a lack of confidence and a lack of self-esteem just to perform. It was like once the ball tipped up, he was just very shy, per se, just to be himself.
Yeah.
But in practice, but he was very quiet, didn't talk a lot, couldn't get him to communicate. But now, oh man, and Kobe, if you're hearing this, I know you remember. Oh, he became a leader.
Yeah,
became a leader. He became a leader of the team. ended up going to Highland Tech, being an all-leading scorer there.
Okay.
And broke that record of the old Highland Junior High School and became an accomplished person. You know, I don't think I'm always athletes.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't my vision. Again, I just wanted to just be good people, Stephen. I mean, that's what I got into it for. Whether it was athletics, is your success, or businessman, or you come back and be a doctor or a lawyer.
Yes, really what we need, something we need here is these youth to come back to Gastonia, right?
Exactly.
And serve our community here, yep.
And that was the plan all along. And some of them do come back over the summer and help out in clinics that we host.
Yeah.
And it's good to see them giving back. Because, again, that's what I wanted them to do. So, that was I always go back to that moment. It was just seeing how shy he was or fearful he was. And I remember asking him, why you scared? Just come out. Be who you are. Have confidence. And that second year, it was a change in that kid's mindset. And once we got into the travel ball circuit, he began to come out of his shell with his friends and be an inspiration to them. Was always a good communicator, but you wouldn't have knew that at 9 because the kid was so quiet and just had a very low self-esteem of himself, At the time, my coaching style was very intimidating to him. His mother, I remember his mother sharing the story with me. One day that we was going to a tournament, and she was driving. She said, "You know what? I remember Kobe was like, I don't want to play for Coach Eric. He yells at me too much." But in what year was that? I think the third season that I coached him, she asked me, "Who do you want to play for?" And then he told me, "I want to play for Coach Eric."
Yeah.
To a surprise. So he understood that, no, it was in all love.
Yeah, he knew that you cared for him.
Yeah. But that's all I want. I
Right.
just want him to know that. But some kids don't know that then.
Yeah.
But hopefully they know that now. And to that 2020 class, that 2021 class, hey, I just want to say now, you guys hear this, y'all still my heart. I love you. Because that class ended up doing some amazing things. Actually, they won the national championship in their third try. We took them down there in 6th grade. We didn't do it that first year. But we took them down when they were 6th grade, Myrtle Beach, lost in the silver bracket division, which is kind of considered like the Division II.
Okay.
Lost in the Final Four. Came back the second try as a 7th grade group. Made it to the gold bracket Final Four. Lost in the semifinals there. Came back, tried again. End up in that third year, Stephen. Oh, they came with that fire. You could tell that they had a mindset. No, we not losing this one. And the 8th grade year, I just let them go, and that was an amazing run. That team, still to this day, I can put them out there against anybody in this world, and they would compete. And from that year, the team kind of everyone started to go their own way.
Yeah.
And that's just how it goes.
That's what happens when they get older. Yeah.
And
That's my daughters played club soccer, and we saw the same thing. Teams staying together, and then they get kind of high schoolish. They can end up going elsewhere. Yeah.
So that was my most proudest accomplishment. Just where those kids started, where they even now. I mean, it's a continuous process. What they continue to do, it's continuing to unfold itself.
Right. Well, you kind of shared this next question. You've kind of shared some reasons already, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Why would you say, in general, Gaston County's youth is better because Youth Kingdom development is here?
Well, we want to be an outlet for the youth here. Give them a stage, give them an opportunity to learn those life skills. And look, Steve, it's not only that. Some of these kids don't even know how special they are, how great they are, until you give them an opportunity to just be themselves.
Something good happens, and they'll start to realize it. Yeah.
So with the kids of Gaston County, hey, listen, it's not just a sports program. I know a lot of you kids hear about us, parents hear about us
because of that.
Because really kind of how we started. But once they really do a little research about us and get their kid in the program, they'll see that, hey, it's more that we're trying to offer that kids could get an opportunity to really discover that they got talent, that they got abilities that we could showcase. Now, we want you to come out of your fear. We don't want you to be scared about it. I mean, because when I mention talent shows, I don't get a lot of participation for that, Stephen. We actually try to get one this year, and we had to kind of postpone it, but nobody wants to sign up for my talent shows.
That's funny, yeah.
Nobody wants to sign up for my oratorical contests. Nobody wants to sign up for spelling bees and things like that. So, and these are programs that we do, still in the works and trying to get more grounds. But Gaston County, this is what we offering you and your kids. So look us up, and this is how we're gonna make these kids more confident in an early age. Put a vision of themselves that they can see themselves doing what they already can do. These kids are just so talented, but they think their dream is to be a professional NBA player. But I have to share with them all the time, those odds are just so limited. But look at you. You can sing. You're an artist. You can draw. You can paint. You can dance. You're a good communicator. You're very gifted in mathematics. So that's the engineer mind. So I just try to just teach them these things.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean when I talk about that. I think we have to be careful with that passion. Chase your passion, chase your dream all the time. Because, when I was, 16, I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. But looking back, there was no way, you know what I mean? There was no chance of that. Right. I just didn't have it. I had the drive, but I just didn't have the talent and ability. So if I had kind of chased that dream, I would have, looking back, I would have missed out on everything some of the things I accomplished and some of the impact I've had here on the community. There's just, or maybe it would have been later before some of that happened. Right. So that's why I personally like the concept of just bring your passion to whatever you're doing, as opposed to chasing that. Because you're right, it's such a infinitesimal small percentage that get to chase that professional athletic career. So, exactly. What do you envision Youth King development looking like in 5 to 10 years? Have you thought that?
Yes,
far?
The young people coming in to be the presidents, the vice presidents. I'm talking about former participants. That's what I envision. I want the young people. I want it to be self-sustaining for young people to come back and and have jobs. We have a strategic plan we're trying to put together to build and establish after-school program, and want to create some jobs here for the young people to come and be able to, even now, come back and intern. But 10, 15 years from now, I want these young people to be running YKD. I could just sit back and just
and see what
be a volunteer to them.
And that would really kind of see the impact you've made, right, at that point.
Well, it's really not about me. Well, never have been, but I see your point. Yeah. Yes, I would love to just look back and be like, now you understand. This is what it was about all along, about you.
Yeah.
YKD was established for you young people. And go on. I wanted to keep going even when I'm dead and gone, Stephen. let these young people still have this.
That's the real definition of legacy, isn't it? When things are continuing that you've worked on after we're gone.
Right. And hopefully Gaston County can still turn over every year.
Yeah.
Because we average about between 80, 90 kids in our program a year. We wanted to keep that going, and making an impact. That's what I envision. So
kind of on that same line, what advice would you give somebody, wanting to get involved with your organization, or just in general organizations like Youth Kingdom Development?
Well, that's the first thing we give a parent is a questionnaire. And in that question, we ask them that, what are you looking for? What do you want your child to be a part of? What kind of organization? Because we already know who we are. They may not know. in a certain selection of questions, it's kind of like a multiple choice. So out of those 3 questions, one of them is, are you looking for an organization that, and I'm just paraphrasing it because I don't have it in front of me, but to teach your kids life skills, value their education, and just make them a better person. That's the answer we want to. Now, we also have a question where I want to look for an organization that will help develop my kid to be a better basketball player or better athlete, and hopefully when they get a scholarship. Knowing in my mind it's very limited.
Sure.
We want them to select and know that we're going to teach your child to be a better person. They might not take that path all the way and pursue sports, because we had some athletes who had the potential and the talent, but when they got in high school, Stephen, their mindset changed.
Yeah. And
they decided, no, I'm going to go into this direction of business.
Okay.
Right? So that's what I encourage parents. Don't just look for the winning team, because we get that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Kids
I remember just coaching even church youth.
Yeah.
I remember some parents with all, but anyway.
Right. But don't just look for that. Don't just bring your child. Look for an organization that's gonna teach your child how to be just good people. Just good people. Teach them how to make good choices. Teach them how to make good life decisions, because we know as parents now that, looking back, wasn't no promise that we was going to always be there for our kids to help them make crucial decisions in their life. Because I got kids in my program who have lost parents. One here recently. And this kid is 12 years old. Just lost his father.
That's tough, man.
So, you see, look for an organization that can fill a void for a young kid who at that time could be hurt and don't know. Because I remember that was a turning point in my life, Stephen. My grandmother, who was the pillar of our family, I lost her around that age.
Okay.
And she had me spoiled. I mean, everything. But to lose that anchor,
oh sure,
my emotions just got so out of control. That's when I started having a lot of behavioral issues, but didn't know why.
Another reason, yep.
But now that I look back, it was because of that. It was because of that hurt. It could be a loss of a loved one, and a lot of these kids, these parents are just trying to put them in something just to keep them per se out. Keep them involved. But no, just know what program or organization. Know everything. What are they about?
Right.
In the long run,
what's the purpose and vision? What they're trying to accomplish? Yeah,
that's what I would challenge parents to do.
Well, Eric, this has been terrific. So, is there any questions I haven't asked? Anything you'd like to share about Youth Kingdom development? We're going to shift gears here in just a minute, but obviously we're going to finish up to make sure that everybody knows how our listeners can get involved or donate or just anything. We'll let you share all that at the end. But anything else you'd like to share, or any questions I haven't asked?
Well, I want people to be aware that we have always tried to create more awareness, and a lot of people don't know that we're bigger than just a AAU club organization. So I want to share that even now we just recently completed our participation of volunteers, even with the community foundation run.
Just last past weekend.
Yeah, we was glad that came back. I love being involved in that. I love helping out, volunteer, and this is what we want the Gaston County community and surrounding counties to know, that this is who we are. I mean, y'all know us by YKD Kings when people hear Youth Kingdom Development.
Right.
But even when we go compete, we have YKD on our uniform. What does that stand for? I said, it's an acronym. Youth Kingdom Development. Then they be like, okay, we're not just an AAU club. So I want to keep that in mind. And to our church partners, I want to give y'all a shout out as well. Tabernacle Baptist Church, South Minister, and all the churches who have helped us over the years. Pisca.
My mother is a member of South Minister.
Here we go. New Hope Baptist Church.
Yeah.
So we want to to thank and appreciate and know that, hey, without y'all support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So I wanted to make sure people know that.
Okay, well, very good. I appreciate that. So one last question before we're going to shift gears to the really important questions, Eric. But this is a podcast about Gaston County. So besides Youth King Development, your organization, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place?
Because we're growing.
We are.
Man, we're growing of all of the new establishment, new businesses, new economic developments that have came, going back to the new stadium here. And hey, it's a good place. I mean, we all see other opportunities that could be established here. I see it even with the organization. We would love to have a facility here.
Okay.
We go and we support these other tournaments around the area. Speaking of Belmont, I want to say Belmont finally got a multi-court facility going. I don't know if that's aware, but Belmont Parks and Recs are building a 3-court facility and should be open next year.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
So that's going to be big. So I want people to know that, hey, we doing some great things here. And I think it's all going to come back into being a good place to raise your families, good opportunity for kids. So, and let's continue to build. I mean, I've seen a lot of changes. Like I said, I grew up here all my life. So, looking back, I remember even this little area used to be a residential community.
Yeah, houses
on both sides. Now, look, it's a commercial.
Yep, that's right.
Area now. So, we growing.
Yes, well, I appreciate it, and you're exactly right. I think it is a good place for, especially I mean, I stayed here and went off to college briefly, but came back because I knew I wanted to raise my kids here, and I agree. It's been we've had a really great experience here in Gaston and Gaston County schools with our kids too. So we're going to shift gears real quick, Eric. This is what we call our speed round of questions, and this is really what your family, all your players, past players, this is what they really want to know and hear about you. All right.
All right.
So we're going to start real quick. What's your favorite local restaurant?
Ooh. Okay. Favorite. Oh, wow. Well, it's a new soul food spot. Smith's Soul Food.
Yep. I know of it. I haven't been there yet, but I know of it.
Good
I've heard really good things about it.
Got to check it out.
Okay. How about you? Are you a Dairy Queen guy or a Tony's guy? Or is that an unfair question?
It's really unfair because as a kid. Ooh, I'm glad you said that. Okay, we on Ozark here. I know the listeners might not know where I'm doing this interview is Ozark. Tony's Ice Cream actually used to be like right behind here.
Okay.
Love Memorial Church right there, Broad Street. Used to be a Tony. Now that Tony's Ice Cream, that was my favorite.
Okay.
They moved here on Franklin now, but if we're going back to my childhood, Tony's. Now, I would say it's a toss up.
Okay, toss up. What about Sundrop or Cheerwine?
Sundrop.
Okay. How about your favorite outdoor activity to do in Gaston County? Favorite park or just anything like that?
I like riding my bike.
Okay.
Martha Rivers.
There's a good place. There are some good places to do some biking around here. So here's my my question that I ask every week, and just because I can, and there is a correct answer if you're not aware. So
okay.
UNC, Duke, or NC State?
No, you didn't, Stephen. Oh, wow. Oh, Lord. Well, this is what I have to say. Because we just finished and wrapped up March Madness, right?
Yeah. Which NC State wasn't a part of, by the way, except on the women's side.
Yeah, well, it's Tar Heel Nation. It's Tar Heel Nation.
Oh.
Tar Heels. But I would say this.
Elizabeth,
please, my State fans and my Duke fans, please hear me before you turn off the dial and say, oh, no, I'm not going to support that guy. When Carolina is not in it, I do support State.
Okay.
I root for them. I do support Duke. I root for them. Actually, I hated that we had to play each other in the semifinal. I wish they would have been a championship game.
Well, listen, Carolina had a terrific run.
Yeah,
absolutely terrific run this season. And listen, I'm married to Tar Heels, so
so
we have a mixed family, mixed marriage.
I got you.
So we figured out how to survive that. Actually, she's a much better sport about it than I am. So that's kind of how we survived that. So how about a recent book or blog or article that you might share with our readers our listeners that they might enjoy?
The War of Art.
Okay.
People get that book confused with the Art of War.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's a book you got to read, especially to my young people. It's called The War of Art, which is basically, just summing it up, is how we are in a war with ourselves, getting to that next step with all the creative gifts that we already have within us.
And we don't know it.
Yep. And our biggest enemy is the procrastination to get out.
I'm a professional procrastinator, by the way.
To use it. The world is waiting on what can we bring to the world. And that book just changed my mind.
And I think you might have tested this, because I know I can. I'm 50. I'll be 52 here in a couple of months, and it's for me, it seems like yesterday I was 20.
All right.
And that 30 years is a snap, and luckily I can look back and see some of the things I've done and accomplished. But boy, then there's times I feel like, boy, I could have done so much more.
You know what, and Stephen, and again, my mindset changed. When I got to Gaston College, in that broadcasting degree. Shout out to Mr. Mayor, Miss Kate Comedy. They helped me, and that's when I got into reading a lot more books. And then when I transferred to Belmont Abbey, I kept that mindset, and I always thought about that book and that literature. So I just want all the kids to know, you could get an audio version of that book, listening to it, make some good points, but definitely that's a book I recommend for young people who has a passion in performance arts or artists in general. Read that book there. It's very inspirational.
Yeah, to your point, something that I do, and I never really talked about this. I do a book recommendation myself every episode, and one of the reasons is, I don't know, I was probably in my mid-30s, 34, 35, when I started personally going out and talking to other business owners, trying to learn more. I got involved with some organizations to help business owners and show how you can be more involved in the community. But that's when I really started reading consistently, seriously. And I definitely have learned more from that reading that I've done in the past 15 years or so than the previous 35 years combined, just from reading, whether books like you just mentioned, just biographies, business books, personal development books, for me personally, scripture, just whatever,
Yes.
So that I appreciate you sharing that, because I do think readers, every reader. I love this little. I wish I remember who said this, but it might have been Jim Rohn or somebody said something similar, that every reader isn't necessarily a leader, but every leader is a reader.
That's deep.
Yes, and so I'm a big proponent of that. So. Thank you. Thanks, Eric, for kind of indulging us on those Gaston County questions. But, let's not forget the main point of this today, and like all of our episodes, is to bring awareness to your organization. How can some of our listeners learn more? So where can they go to learn more, get involved, contact you guys directly? I know I've been on your website. It's terrific. Just kind of share anything you want to share, and how can they send donations to the organization? Just anything you want to share to really get the word out.
All the above they could find on our website, ykdkings.org, and they'll find out everything about us, what we're about. See a lot of content there, and a lot of memories. But the main thing is, I want people to be aware. We also have a social media platforms, a Facebook page.
Okay.
Find us out there on either name. You could use Youth Kingdom Development or YKD Kings. If you just want to just follow our tribal teams, we have an Instagram page for that as well. It's YKD Kings Basketball on Instagram. So and find out who we are. But I want to always drive that point that we're not just a basketball organization. Right. Again, we're a youth development organization that was trying to establish kids in the right direction, at a very young age, just to put confidence in them in the seed. And look, a lot of kids, they come in our program and they might go to another program. That's fine, but at least if we could put a seed, talking about scripture, I believe in planting the seed, another one coming to water it, and God doing the increase. That's my mindset with these young people.
What's the typical age when somebody can get started with you?
Second grade.
Okay.
That's around 8 years old. So we started second grade all the way to high school. So
this is I'm involved with a group called F3 Gastonia, and most people think it's a workout group, and so it's almost like what you're describing for older men. Okay, but its mission is to invigorate male community leadership, and it uses the workouts as the vehicle to get men together to do. To get better, and that's all. So it feels like you're doing the same thing, using athletics to get these young men and people together, and help them along the journey, to be better. Yeah,
because athletics it does something to the mind.
Sure, it does.
It's an emotional stimulant. So
many lessons just from athletics. Because I was a sports guy growing up. Playing all kinds of sports through high school. Yep.
And so many of these kids, and shout out to Gaston County schools, because a lot of our kids come from this area, this market. But again, we do have kids in York County, Cleveland, Lincoln, and Mecklenburg that joins the program. But Gaston County schools are our roots, our pool. So I want these kids to know, hey, if you hear parents, if you want them to just come and just learn more self-esteem concepts and principles. That's what we're going to teach them through the game of basketball. We're looking to get into other sports as well. Flag football would be our next sport.
Okay.
We had a volleyball program for like a year or two. That organization went off and established. But hey, sports is sports. But the foundation of sports is the key, and the foundation I think should be for any organization or program. Hey, let's teach these kids life skills through the sport, and pray that they be better people and come back and reach back and help the others. We got to keep giving back.
Absolutely. Well, Eric, listen, I appreciate what you're doing because again, if I've learned nothing else from these 49 episodes now is that it takes a vision of someone like yourself. To make an impact, and then obviously there are other people that help along the way, but it does take typically one or two individuals kind of have that vision to get something started like this. So,
appreciate it.
I appreciate it. And we met before we talked briefly before we started recording about we're big on youth and obviously that's the future.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to be here forever.
Exactly.
And so we need some mentorship, and it sounds a lot like that's what you're doing is mentoring these young kids. So I really appreciate it. So as usual, I'm going to kind of finish up here with my own book recommendation for the week and my quote or thought for the week. And I was intentional on picking this book that I read. It's been a couple years ago since I read this. Well, this was written by Truett Cathy, who is, if you don't know, he was the founder of Chick-fil-A, and he's big on youth development as well. But he wrote a book. It's a short read. So I would recommend it. It's called "It's Better to Build Boys Than Mend Men." It's better to build boys than mend men. So kind of very similar to the concept that Eric has been talking about today. Let's get these kids and get them in the right direction when they're young, so we don't have to try to correct that later in life. And I got a quote I took. This was just by chance. This was my quote of the week that I put out in my social media feed every week. But this comes from a great movie, one of my favorite movies called The Dead Poets Society that has Robin Williams in it. His character was named John Keating, and he said, "No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world." So I'd like to think that, frankly, that's what Eric's got some ideas that are changing the world here locally in Gaston County, and that's where it starts. You start doing small things in the local level, and next thing you know, you are changing the world for the better. So this has been a really impactful and terrific episode for me. So to our listeners out there that are out there, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast, and please don't hesitate to contact us here at our email, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We're always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at our website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And please follow us on all our social media platforms by just searching for Gaston's Great. And again, as I say every week, Elizabeth says a good 5-star rating will help the podcast get noticed. Anything below that, you can skip. We don't want anything less than 5 stars. So a big thanks again to Eric Wilson for being our guest today.
Thank y'all.
Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Elizabeth King and Amy Anderson from GSM Services and edited here locally by the Sumner Group. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.